Hi, and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm E.
And we are back, and it is still your birthday month. But we're getting closer to Halloween. What, one more week? And, yeah, we got stuff going on. Lots of finishes. Eve's going first. I'm going to sit here.
So I have a finish.
I didn't even know what I'm going to do. I'm so sleepy.
Somewhere here, I have the picture.
Sleepy.
Yes, I was asleep 5 minutes ago.
Well, some of us wake up in the morning.
So, I've been working on Dirty Annie's Southern Style.
Such a funny name for a company.
Isn't it? Felice Naughty Dog. And I have a finish.
It's so cute. I saw it.
The only thing I have to do still is to put the little...
I'm off camera, sorry. I'm like, wait a minute.
Is to put the little star up here.
Is that the button?
It's a button, yeah.
Oh, cute.
However, I had thought that I would either find a pattern to make one or purchase a dog coat. It's not hot here. Not that kind of coat, you know, but
Wait.
a little coat.
You mean it's not cold here? You said it's not hot here.
Yeah, that.
It is hot here.
It is hot here. Even in December. It's warm-ish. Y'all would think it was hot. You know, what, 70?
Yeah.
So, I want to sew this into the back so she's running around with it on her back. I think that would be hilarious. But if I did that, I don't know about putting the little star on there.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alternatively, I think I would make it a little wall hanging kind of thing.
I would make it in a wall hanging and then do it again on a dog coat. That's what I would do. Because I think you want to save that forever.
To get some waste canvas and put it on a dog coat.
Yeah, because you wouldn't. I mean, it'd be harder to keep it forever if it was just on a dog coat. And I think you should keep that forever. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. It is so funny. I did it in mostly the called for colors. I did not have that green color, although my
You okay? Yes.
I did not have one of the green colors, even though theoretically I do. I couldn't find it, so I just got a different green color. And the red, the called for red is Gentle Arts color, Gentle Arts pomegranate, and I'm not going to go try to find one Gentle Arts red, which is very hard to find. So I just picked a red.
Red's always running out everywhere because of Christmas.
Red's always running out everywhere. But Gentle Art in particular, I have difficulty finding reds. And not just one color of red, reds in general. So, you know, that's one less person trying to find that red so somebody else can have it. You know?
As we always say in our family, more for Sancho.
More for Sancho Panza.
So, trying to think about the order I want to do. As we stated, this is Beth's birthday month. And in January...
All month long.
Yeah. In January, I started this for Beth. This is Calico Cats by Missouri Star Quilt Company, designed by Natalie there. And when I left off, I was working on this little... They're flying geese stuck together here. And she said they're wonky flying geese. And I was... Either I cannot do wonky. I wanted them to look like what I saw on the video or on the picture. And given the sizes of things given there, because they were supposed to be wonky, you know, it was to use some of the leftover
the snowball corners?
On the cats, the snowball corners that you ended up with, like from here, of this background color, to sew on a strip to make those flying geese, and I could not make it work. And I'm sure it's possible. I just didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the way it was coming out. It was frustrating, and I just put it away. I tried other things, sewing. Well, maybe I could do this, or maybe I could do that instead. And I just put it away. And I finally said, well, it's Beth's birthday month, so I'm going to take it back out and try to get some work done on this. Because I had bags out here, and I cut 2 bags. But I was like, maybe the reason I can't get moving on it is because I don't really want to do it. So I thought maybe I would, work on some quilting project and get my sewing desire back
Your
in.
sojo mojo.
Excuse me. So I had just put this away in frustration. And so when I brought it back out, I undid everything I had done to try to make a better, strip and all that to put in, to have the short cats and the long cats. And some of these short cats have the thing on top, and it adds visual interest, I guess. But I used instead of using charm packs with yardage for the background, I actually used 10-inch squares and just cut enough of it to make the cats. So I had a lot left over of the 10-inch squares. And I said, I can use some of those and do that differently, and I kept trying to think of ideas. And it wasn't that I hadn't thought of it since I put this down. It was January or April, around there, when I put it down. And I had gotten a lot done in the month. And this, by the way, was a WIP-GO challenge that I never did. And the challenge was to get the quilt top made. And so I sat down to make those wonky flying geese, said, I'm going to do it. And I just looked over and I, was like, how is this going to work? And I folded over the little triangle where would have the size it would be if it was stitched, so I would see how. And I looked over at my extra fabric and said, I'm not doing that. And I am going to make them all. I cut more to make more 5-inch squares. So far, this is how far I've gotten making this part. And they're all going to be tall cats. Well, obviously not this one, but this one. But they're all going to be tall cats. I have everything else cut out, ready to go. All the sashing strips, the cornerstones, everything's ready to go. It was just waiting for me to make this panel, this little things. And I was like, why am I waiting for that? I am never going to like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it would take me forever to make it the way it's supposed to look. And every time you seam rip something, you destroy the fabric, right?
Yeah.
So I told myself, I says, all those extra strips I can sew into the border. I have not chosen a border fabric for this.
You mean like a little piano key border, or like
a
scrap? Oh, that'd
like
be cute.
Even just along the sides or just on the top and the bottom, depending how long it makes, and then just put border fabric there with that, and so I won't waste that.
Yeah,
those cuts that I have,
cute.
and that ends that frustration with that, so that I can finish this quilt. Not that Beth needs another quilt. Beth has a lot of quilts, but it's kitty cats.
But I'm gonna make it. Doggone it.
But it's kitty cats. So
It's not about need.
If that was the case, I wouldn't be doing all this stitching I'm doing.
so here are all the panels,
Nice.
both long and short. And I'm just going to make all of them.
Long ones.
Oh, and they'll come out something like this.
Cute.
Yeah, this is not the gray background. She had you make 2 of them different. And I did that because I will go and do it like the instructions said. Of course, I'm not using a white background. It's okay. Beth doesn't really like white. She likes black. And she likes blue, dark blue. So, okay. And then my, that is actually WIP-GO, wasn't it? My WIP-GO challenge for the beginning of the month was 15 days on when witches go riding. And I was almost at that 15 days the last time. And this is how far I got. Now, it's not a lot further than what you saw before because, you know, it was almost 15 days. But I did do both ghosts and I backstitched around the ghosts.
So did you hit 15 days on that?
Nice.
On the 16th. And I,
Sorry for the noise.
on the same day, I moved on. I usually stitch more than one project during the day. I may do one earlier in the day and then one in the evening, or it may be just that I just get tired of doing one and move on to a different one. Which is why I was able to finish that Naughty Dog so quickly because I only worked on that one day. That's all I worked on. And so after I backstitched around the ghosts on this, I said, I'm done. I'm not going to work on any more on it this time. I got a lot done on it.
That way you won't burn out and get frustrated and
Right.
about it.
And so I just said, "Nah, I'm done." And so I started on the other WIP-GO challenge for this month. Holly Jolly Christmas. And I meant
That's
to
the one
grab...
where Beth's going to do the other one?
No.
No.
Oh, that's
Can you
different.
grab that first berry over there? It's the Christmas berry.
Oh.
So I stitched this a little under a year ago. This one says Holly Jolly Christmas on it, just like the pattern says, right? And I crocheted the toppers. So this is the partner to it. This one here. Yeah, this one here. And it says lots of jolly on it. And so I started on that, and this is where I am. But as I'm stitching, I'm like, am I restitching the same one? I actually had to get up finally and go look at the one that I did before to make sure I was stitching on the correct one.
Oh, you thought you were redoing it?
Yeah. And then when you look at the picture, all of the red parts of it are a darker red with a lighter red. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be strawberry parfait and holly berry. Okay. And so I picked up the strawberry parfait. Now I substituted Cupid for holly berry because it was not in stock. That's a classic colorwork stuff. And I was getting it near Christmas, so the red wasn't in stock, because reds sell out very fast, right? So the ladies at the attic gave me Cupid. They said this is similar. So I was going on this one, remember it's been almost a year, I picked up the strawberry parfait because that's what the little icon said was going to be in that spot. And I started stitching it and I'm like, that's not right. Because it was the lighter color of the two I had. Now part of me goes, is holly berry even lighter than strawberry parfait? Strawberry parfait is almost pink. And that is this lighter color right here. You can't see it, but
Let me see.
and I'm like, are the icons just backwards? Because then I looked at the picture, I'm like, no, that lighter color is supposed to be, you know,
A little accent. It's like a little reflection or something.
yeah, and when I said, you know, you don't have holly berry, but I can't imagine holly berry being that much lighter because the strawberry parfait, I didn't bring the little thing over here. I should show you the little threads, but I didn't bring it over here. Is so much lighter. Anyway, I'm doing it opposite. The icon's opposite of what it says because I'm.
Did you look at this pattern and to see if it matched the
Yeah.
old one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this looks like the picture.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But if I put the strawberry parfait where it said, because that's why I got this out to double check on the picture. This little heart down here would be pink, not red. See the little heart? This one doesn't have a heart. This little heart like that, it would have been pink. That's lighter color. Yeah. I don't know if I have everything wrong.
Let me see the pattern.
The pattern isn't in there, just
No,
the
I know.
picture. So
I just meant the photo.
yeah, so
Well, Eve, I want to say in this picture down here, this little heart of this big panel is pink.
yeah, but I didn't look at that pattern. I looked at the one that I did before. So I'm switching the icons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I already have the cute little peppermint here and all that to put on it. So I can't wait to finish this for two reasons. I want to get this done so I can work on Nativity Berry, get them both done before Christmas, and finished. Yeah. And then because I finished the pick of the patch, I had that finished before last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went ahead and started on a different berry.
The scarecrow one.
The scarecrow. And this is on 32 count Endora. I'm trying to think of the company. Yeah, it's Endora. And the little scarecrow is I just love it. Now, I did stitch white here for the face. That's not in the pattern. In the pattern, it's supposed to be the color of the fabric.
This is face, yeah.
Yeah, but I thought the back stitching, it's just two eyes and back stitching for the rest of the face. I'm like, that is never going to show up on this fabric. But I love the way the scarecrow looks on this fabric.
That's his shirt. That color, that green color. That's neat.
It's not green, it's blue. It's
looks green from here.
It's three
Oh, it's
colors.
like
It's three different colors.
It's like a tealish blue
A
and
tealish blue, a
green,
blackish blue.
blackish. It's blue?
That's it's a very, it's black, but it's a bluish black.
It is. And then like an olive green?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. That's really neat.
And you know, it works this way with paint too. The color of a thread is very much influenced by the threads that are around it. So that color that looks like an army green right here, right? Is the same color that I used right here. So this is what I'm going to be working on today. I'm working on the Sewing Bee, another Erica Michaels pattern. Other people make berry patterns, and I look at them, and I go, I like the shape of her patterns. A lot of the other berries are narrower, which I don't really like. I like the fact that it actually looks like a strawberry, so the shape of it. Or I just simply, I look at it and go, the pattern isn't something that I really want. So, but other people make berry patterns. Mine all happen to be, but I'm working on this, the pin pillow. So I am, I want to say about halfway done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And this has some little
It's pretty
buttons and stuff to sew on, so that's what I'm going to be working on. And that is enough projects, I think. Oh, one more thing.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So I purchased this wool.
Oh yeah.
Felted wool to finish the autumn berries. And even though I chose different colors to use on them, I think these will look beautiful with them anyway. So I decided to go ahead and won't this little plaid one look good with this?
Yes.
Anyway, I decided to go ahead and buy the winter berries wools. And these are really nice. Now, the whites are just, there's a couple of whites in here. But
Oh, I like the little
look at this red.
texture in there.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Look at this purple. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, and these came in the mail yesterday, and I was so happy.
I was wondering what that was. I saw the little envelope. I thought, oh, you ordered something.
Yeah, I ordered something else. It'll be here later. And then a lighter purple, and then an off-white.
Those are pretty.
These will look great with those. I think I showed you the pattern last week.
Yeah, the nativity berries. Yeah.
No.
Oh.
The winter berries.
Oh. I'm confused.
Did I have the winter berries last week? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you did.
So, and then
Yeah, the little
two little
ice skating.
the ice
cardinal
skating.
and-
Yeah, the ice skating cardinal. I want to put it on a different. I want to put it on a different color than what they have it on because, a bird with ice skates, you should be able to see the ice skates. So, and obviously I'm not real into using the same colors that the designer used, and nothing against designers using those colors. I understand, but yeah. I look at the pattern and go, oh, but this would look so much better on this. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Sorry for the crinkling. Now, who's next?
I'll be next. Because I think you have more to talk about.
Yeah.
I had a lot to talk about, and I wanted it out of my way.
I don't have tons, but so my greatest accomplishment. Do you remember? I don't know if it was last week or week before. I talked about this sweater of Hannah's and how I had reached 13 inches and I put it on. Oh yeah, it was last week. I put it on the Hannikin and I thought that's long enough. And then I started to doubt myself because when I made Dad's sweater, and he's a little guy, and we tried it on him, and I thought it fit. And then later on, as he was wearing it more, one day he put it on and I was like, Dad, that's kind of short, isn't it? Because it was kind of riding up in the back. And, he was always cold, so it would have been better if it had been longer. And I remember just feeling like because it was the first time I was making that pattern, the first time I was making a sweater with no pattern, basically. And I was impatient, and it was bulky wool, it was going fast, but I was like, okay, I'm done with the body. And so I did not want to make that same mistake. So I thought about it, and I scoured. I think I talked about it last week. I scoured the internet, like, what is a typical length? And it's hard because most people don't make sweaters this way anymore. They make them top down. But I wanted to see someone talking about making a sweater bottom up and how long the measurement is, you know, from armpit to hem. And I found a typical, like, medium-sized sweater is 17 inches from armpit to the hem. So I decided to add more inches. And in this week, I try to be really disciplined about getting this out, and I have added 2 more inches to it. So it's like, well, it's like 15 and a half now. And I'm going to make it to 17 just so that it's nice and long and will cover, you know, cover her bum and that kind of thing. So I'm like forcing myself to just, and it's kind of nice because I can do this while I'm doing anything, sitting in a doctor's office. And I don't remember where I was, where I had like a full, like, I think it was a full hour. I just sat, knit. So this is coming along. I imagine by next week I will be done with this and make some progress on the first sleeve. So that's where this is. And then the other thing I've really been working on is the Sharon Air shawl. And I'm going to put up a photo here of it in all its glory after I show it to you. So here, Beth, let's take that way. So this is like basically 2/3 of it, and I'm working on the last third still. And I'm probably almost done with clue 5, and then I have clue 6. So that's basically my progress on it. I'll show a full picture here of kind of a close-up I took this morning. And I really love the colors. I love the texture. And it actually is like an airplane. But
How
yeah,
is it like an airplane?
Well, because it's like the V, and then it's got wings, basically.
It's more like a bird.
Birds and airplanes are related. I don't know what your dog's running over here for. Like something exciting was happening.
She might need the bathroom.
Oh no. So then the other news about my shawl was that the other day someone pulled it out of the bag and threw it on the floor. And it had slobber on it and little teeth pulls, but no holes. I think actually, remember I blamed Hobbs for it? Because
you mean it was Mark?
No, I think it may have actually been Calvin. Because Hobbs would have done a number on it. Like, he would have bitten through it and really chewed it up.
He would have made you cry.
But so the reason this incident happened was I got a very strange picture with Hobbs in the bathroom with me. I can't share it. It's kind of personal. But basically, he crawled inside my jeans while I was sitting on the toilet, and he's sitting in my jeans.
Looking up at her.
If y'all want to see the picture, tell me in the comments, and next week I'll put it up, but I'm kind of embarrassed to show it. Anyway.
I have seen so many pictures like that on the
really?
cheeseburger thing or whatever, that.
Well, if y'all want to see it, I'll put up. You can't see my body parts, but it's just funny. Anyway, he had come in and to the bathroom with me. I was home alone, so I didn't shut the door. And so he came in with me. And looking back, I think he followed me in there. And then when I went back out to my knitting, which I had put in the bag, but I didn't put my iPad on top of the bag, which is what my security system when I have to leave it for a minute. I didn't do that. I just put it on the bag on the TV tray near my chair. And I come out and the shawl is on the floor. And I'm like, no! Fortunately, none of the yarn was bitten through and there were no holes. But there was just like where whoever had grabbed it near, I guess they grabbed it right here near the needles. There was some pulls. And I was able to, there were some snags, and I was able to kind of, go, stretch it up, stretch it sideways, and get them back in place, and it's fine. But I was like, Hobbs, because he's the wool hunter. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, I'm almost 100%
He had an
positive
alibi.
that he followed me into the bathroom, because that's how he was that day on Thursday. He followed me everywhere. Meow, 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 everywhere. Followed me in the bathroom, followed me in the kitchen, followed me, just like if I got up to move to this chair, he'd come over there, and if I got up over there, and if I was walking by, he'd get up on the back of my chair and meow, like, are you okay? So I'm pretty sure he followed me in the bathroom. So I think it might have been Calvin, who is usually a pretty good boy around textiles. I don't know. Some mysterious cat pulled my shawl out and nearly ruined it, but didn't. So that was a close call.
I'm sorry, doggy. I didn't mean to kick you.
And now we're kicking the dog. So the other thing I have to talk about was this magazine. I was feeling pretty miserable. Last week, I was still on lifting restrictions, but I had to run to the store. So I couldn't get like a full shopping, and I couldn't even buy Pepsi. I haven't bought a case of Pepsi in 2 weeks. I mean, I could send Mark for it, but come on. So, I went to the store just to get, because I was going to make this, it's a long story, but I had bought some ground beef and thinking, I'm going to use that. You know how it is? And you're like, oh, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that tonight. And then you don't. And then I'm going to use that. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to use it. And I started getting everything ready, and I go to pull it out, and it had already turned brown. You know what I mean? I was like, dang it. So I'm like,
I almost did that too.
So I was like, okay. I said, I'm going to go to the store and get some ground beef. Sorry, I wasted a pound of ground beef. So I go to the store, and I'm feeling miserable, kind of sore, kind of yucky. And I'm like, oh, look, something to soothe my soul. So it's by Annie's Crochet. But I mean, Annie's Crafts, they do crochet, knit, sew, quilt. Annie's Christmas. It's just a magazine. But it has some really cute stuff. Okay, so the reason I bought it was because of, I just flipped through, like, what's in here? And this showed up. I was like, oh, I'm sold.
The dog didn't
It's
like
mine.
your gnome.
Oh, I know. The dog didn't like it. But as soon as I saw this, I'm like, oh, that's it. And then I started looking.
So cute.
There is so much cute stuff in here. Let me see. There's a really cute quilt that I'm like, okay, Eve, you need to make this. It's not a quilt. Well, it's quilted table runner. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, but there's these knitted Santas. These are really... So that gnome Santa is crocheted. And then there's these three, which I'm like, I'm all over that. Look at that. These are knitted Santas. Aren't those beautiful? Oh, I guess you put them in over a paper cone. And there's, stockings and ornaments and, oh, these, Eve, look at this.
Oh, those are beautiful.
Aren't those pretty? They're like, I don't know if they're knitted or crochet. I think they're crochet.
I was going to say they look like crochet.
Yeah, crochet. I love those Christmas trees. And of course, I immediately thought of Beth when I saw, sorry to be flipping through. But what else do you have to do? You're here watching us. I'm respectful of your time. I'm trying to be. Look at these. Crocheted reindeer with cinnamon stick legs. Isn't that adorable?
So cute.
And then, on this, Eve, this is for you. Look at that. Crocheted snowman. What I like about this is like this small little projects I think I can handle. So this helped me feel a little bit more Christmas spirit because that's been hard for me.
Oh, that's pretty. That's a nice little...
Yeah, there's like big quilts in here. I don't know. It's like, oh, they don't put it in logical order, like quilting or snowman or what. But there's a snowman table runner in here. I want to show you. There's a Christmas tree skirt, which is something I need. I need to make myself a skirt because That's been like the hardest thing for me to find.
I was watching Misty Doan's thing. I was just put on something.
Mm-hmm.
And for a table runner, a Christmas tree skirt. The Christmas tree skirt that we have is not, I've had it for years, but it's intended for a tree stand.
Tree?
Yeah, that's flatter, right? So it's really not big enough for a live one.
I had one from the dollar store. It was like a piece of felt that I cut.
Yeah. So she said, to make this tree skirt thing. And I'm like, that's too much work. That's just too much work. and you're needed to have one of those templates. And I think I have the template, but, I was just like, no. I don't want to do that. And I remember a year ago, I saw a pattern for a Christmas tree skirt on a YouTube video, I think. It might have been on Jordan Fabrics. That was easy.
Yeah.
Ish.
I don't want to make a circle one. Those are too hard. Like I can't.
No,
draw a circle.
it wasn't a circle. It was.
This one in here is like an octagon or something.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
And so was the one that Misty had. It was just. I didn't really.
For me,
like
any
the pattern
Christmas tree skirt, I think to myself, it needs to be able to get covered in cat hair. And if it gets covered in cat hair, am I going to be mad? That's the criteria for a tree skirt.
When I had,
they like to sleep under there.
When I bought
But cats look
my
great
dollar
as little
store one.
presents under the tree.
When I bought my dollar store one, I had never really had a tree skirt.
Oh, here it is.
And I had a real tree, and so I thought, well, I'm gonna buy some kind of skirt or something. Cause the way my mom used to do it is you just put an old white bed sheet, rumpled around the tree.
But then anyway, but she had a like some old felt ones. Remember?
Yeah, she had later on, yeah. But so I just like was looking for something cheap and whatever, and so I found this dollar store one, and so I had put it under my tree and snug. Like would, because I had wooden floor.
You'd run in there.
Would slide around. I'd find it rumpled up. Like, lost cause.
Here's the table runner. I finally found it. I looked from the back and it was at the front. Anyway, look at this snowman. Oh, sorry. So cute. And you could even make these blocks and just make a bunch of them, make them into a quilt. But they're so cute. They're applique, I think. I don't think I can do that, but it's nice to look at. Anyway, so this has been fun. This one's really pretty. Look at that quilt.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. I like blue and white quilts. I've never made one, but I like the way they look.
Oh, I started...
And then I saw this. Okay, this is supposed to be like a snowflake placemat, but I thought if you do this in black, this is a Halloween placemat. This looks like spider webs to me. I was like...
I like the individual one that you can use as a coaster.
Yeah. But I'm like, that kind of looks spider webby to me.
If you did the little individual ones for coasters, you could use that plastic string that they use what crafts for. It's in the beading area.
Like for pony beads?
Yeah, that plastic string.
Yeah. But anyway, so this is fun. This is a fun magazine. I might actually make some things out of here. They have a bunch of ornaments, but I didn't show you, like felt ornaments, crocheted ornaments and stuff like that. But it's really, they have a Fair Isle pillow, which is really nice knitting, and a really beautiful knitted, I don't know if you can see in this picture, a stocking that's like Fair Isle. But I have dream stockings patterns that I want to make from Arne and Carlos. Absolute gorgeous. I have them on my iPad, but they're so beautiful. Those are my dream, because I have stockings. My kids probably get mad at me. I have one that I made Eli when he was like brand new. I made his right away, and then it took me 8-10 years to make Hannah one, and then I finally crocheted her one, which is nice. And then Mark and I had some that I made when we first got married, and they were ugly, and I hated them because, okay, testament to how poor we were. It was a panel. So I made this, I made this, I don't know what it was. I think it was that book. Remember that nativity book? It's a quilted book, fabric book that I made? Mm-hmm. And that was successful. I think it was that, maybe. But on the side of it, on the side of some quilted panel that I bought for some other thing. Oh, no. It was a tree skirt. That's right. I tried to make a tree skirt. And I didn't know how to put on bias binding. So it was a quilted panel, and it was like a circle, and you just cut it out and you put bias binding on the outside. I didn't know how to do bias binding, and most of it was not even on the edge. You know what I mean? How it could just comes off, and I didn't know how to fix it. This was the early days of sewing, and I must have made it on the
FYI, I taught her how to sew when she was making her wedding dress.
Yeah, so I had been sewing literally not even a year. So, and I don't know why I didn't. Well, I guess because I was in Phoenix. I think it must have been when I moved to Phoenix that I made this, because that's when I made Eli's.
So you've been made it like 2 years.
Yeah,
2 years.
But I hadn't really been sewing much. But anyway, on that panel was a thing for stockings. But a stocking, but it was only one. It was two sides, right? Two quilted sides for a stocking. Like you're supposed to cut them out, sew them together, and then put the bias binding around the top, and that makes your stocking. Well, there were two of us, and I didn't want to buy a whole nother panel, right? So very ingeniously, I said, I will buy fabric for the back. So I bought this, it was like red with green holly leaves on it. But any of you know, if you have a quilted thing on the front and then just regular fabric on the back, it's never going to sit right. It's never going to look right. And so then, of course, our stockings were opposite, right? So they were the toes were going the wrong way, like this, right? So they didn't look good. And and the stocking was little short squatty like this. Anyway, and then I made Eli's from a kit. It was one of those, where it was like a felt kit, and you applique everything on, and there was no beading involved, so it went very well, and that was like an accomplishment. So anyway, we had these ugly, half-quilted, not good bias binding stockings for years and years, and I made a whole bunch of quilted stockings many years later for an the Metropolitan Youth Symphonies. No. It was for Symphony of the Southwest, Youth Symphony of the Southwest's holiday bazaar. I made a whole bunch, and so I took 2 of those, and those are our stockings right now, and they're very nice. But I was going to find these. But these stockings from Arne and Carlos, I'm like, one of these days I'm going to make these. I think they're in my PDFs. I love them.
You never really quilt for yourself.
No. But these are knitted. These are knit. Let's
see.
So,
speaking of quilting for yourself, have you even looked at your gnome quilt?
No, I have not. So this is indicative of one of them. They put out a new stocking every single year, and I have bought 4
Wow.
of them. Is that not gorgeous? Mm-hmm. And I love them. And I'm like, I'm going to make all 4 of these for us one day. And by then, the children will be married with children, and I'll have to make more. But look at this one. It's got reindeer on the top.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Oh, so good. I love this.
I love.
But see, you have the skill now to do that.
Yes, I
do.
It
actually probably wouldn't take you that long.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And here's, I don't know how to say it. Hejem Tiljul. I don't know how to say it in Norwegian, but here's another one with a little house. And this one, oh my gosh. And it comes with I think it comes with a little Christmas ball pattern as well.
Gorgeous.
They put out a new one every year, but so I went back and I bought 4. The one with the house is maybe not my super favorite, so maybe I'll buy this year's, but I'll just keep buying them. But one day I'm gonna make those, and those will be our new stockings for all 4 of us, and that will be my dream. So anyway, that's me. Sorry. Oh no! Look what I did. I stretched it out, and I lost.
You're worse than your cats.
I lost a stitch.
When you were talking about Fair Isle, you reminded me of. I've been watching this show called Shetland.
Yes.
And it's a crime mystery kind of thing. But this guy was talking about he was born in Fair Isle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also like a whole Shetland style and Fair Isle. I follow an Instagram of someone. It's called Fair Isle something or other, but it's from the island, from the actual place.
Yeah.
And she is a knitwear designer, and she makes these absolutely gorgeous tams. It's they're hats that have a flat top, and then the brims come down like that, and they kind of look like a beret, but not exactly.
Yeah.
But they are so that's also my dream. Like, I gotta make one of those one day. But yeah, gorgeous. Anyway, that's me.
Okay, let me just put a thread here.
Gotta put a thread.
Okay, so I've had a productive week, I think. I haven't finished. So this bunny sampler was one I was working on for September Crossstitch Camp Sampler September Mishmash, and that Sherry Berger, the Crossstitch Camp lady, had proposed, and and this is the bunny sampler. It's very tiny, you can't see it, but I'll take a picture of it. But I finished it. So I had just the green on the little hill that the bunny's jumping over, and the spider rose, and the spider rose came out very nice. It was actually very easy, and I did put one like it's done with 2 threads, and you put the 5 spokes of the rose first, and then you just weave in and out of the spokes, and going around until you fill it.
You go from the center outward?
Yeah. And so I was doing it. I had like one length of thread, and I was doing it all, and I got kind of to the end of that thread, and I thought, well, it looks okay, except you can see the spokes still, like the very tips of the spokes. And I really wanted to go around it like maybe 2 or 3 more times to get to the because I tried kind of spreading a little bit with the needle, and it wasn't spreading very, didn't completely cover it. So I used another short little length of thread to do the last few rounds around it, and it was a little hard because I'm like, what do I hook it on? What do I and but it came out really very nice. It wasn't quite as scary as I thought it was going to be, but.
So, I do have a question on that.
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans for finishing for that?
I don't know. I don't have any plans.
Ask her next year.
Just add it to my pile.
Actually, I think it would be really, really cute if you put it in some kind of Easter fabric and had it like... did you see on that hands-on design pillow that I did for Crossstitch Camp? The summer basket pillow.
I've seen the pattern, but I don't think I saw the finished.
Well, excuse me. It's panels of fabric around, and then with another one across like this. Excuse me, with the pattern in the middle. And even though I have no intention of finishing it like that, because there's going to be 3 every month, 3 every season for 4 seasons, I didn't want to make 1,000 pillows. And she said, you can make them where you can insert the pillow form in there, and that way you can store them flat. And so I didn't want to do it that way. And yet when I was looking at that, I was like, that would be so cute on with a bunny fabric surrounded into a little pillow. Yeah. You can make it a little pillow about this big because it's so small. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have it a pillow on its own. Tiny little pillow.
What? So this is like a frame on a stand or something?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
that would be fine too. You have plenty of finishing things you could put it on, but
it's cute.
When I finished it, I took a picture of it, and I had, I was there lying on my bed when I finished it, and I have a pillow that is supposed to keep the cats from sitting on all my cross-stitchy stuff, because it's a complicated thing. But anyway, Puck decided that he wants to just lie on top of my, and it's like, it cannot be comfortable. You're lying on top of I don't know, project bags and just stuff. And he's just like lying. And because he's lying up there, because I've kind of given up on trying to chase him down from there. Now Snug's like, well, he's lying up there. Can I lie up there too? I'm like, no! Anyway, I took a picture of this. And so I just put it on the pillow there, and Puck was lying on top of the pillow. And so I have a great picture of him staring straight at the camera. Because, he was kind of looking off to the side at first, and I thought, so I thought I'd put him in the picture, and then he turned his head, and so I took another picture. So I posted it as cat included for perspective, because his paw was like right up on top of this. Anyway, it's
congratulations.
And I've seen a lot of people do projects on that fabric
mm-hmm.
with the flowers on it and similar things. And that one to me is one of the better choices that I've seen on that type of fabric, because the flowers go with it. They don't detract from it. They add to it.
It almost looks like the flowers are on the vine too.
Yeah. So and the only thing that I was worried about is that, like, right here in the hill, there's a flower behind there, and you can kind of
I was noticing
you can kind of see it through there.
Through the stitching.
But I like the way this one here came out, like right on the leaf, and this one right on his face and his mouth.
That's cute.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it came out really cute. So there's that. The bunny sampler is finished, and then this is my my second WIP-GO project. The first one I had was the scissor fob that was also with Chessie and me, but that one's finished. So this one, the goal is to finish it. And the Santa pulled this sleigh and is finished. I backstitched it and everything. I did all the backstitching. And Rudolph is finished. I did all of his backstitching.
Nice.
And so,
boy, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, the backstitching really makes it. And this reindeer here is all the white is done. The white is like invisible because you can't see it without the backstitching. But so this one is done, and I have to do all the rest of it. And it takes a lot of sort of mental discipline because it's very, very fiddly. Because I've talked about this before, but it's quarter stitches like meeting halfway through the panel.
Oh my god!
And because it's on
white
Aida,
fabric.
yeah, and because it's Aida, this little insert on the towel is Aida. Oh. It's really it takes a lot to make sure you're splitting the Aida right in the middle, that it's not too far this way or too far that way, because then you end up with basically a smudge of thread.
You almost wish that you could do backstitch first.
Yeah,
I know you can't. But.
And also like on those deer, you really can't see it, but on those deer there's a little square up for their cheek, right? So there's just one little square, and then there's like these little quarter stitches here and there, you know, and
Wow.
and actually, you know, that magic box I have of threads that you had for that kit.
Yeah.
I was looking through there because I'm basically lazy. So I was looking through there and I thought, well, surely it was number 754, I think is the number. So I was looking through that box because I thought, if I can find it in that box, that means I don't have to go look for it. And so I found it, right? So I pulled it off the thing and I thought, this looks so weird. It looks thick and weird and ropey. And I split, you know, I split the little skein apart, you know, to get one thread so I could double it over, and it was very thick. And I don't know if I didn't split it enough, if I didn't split it right or whatever, but when I thought I had, and I stitched with it, and I went to stitch with it, and it seemed very thick. And it like didn't look right, didn't look like normal stitching, like thread or whatever. So I finally pulled out what I had done, and I went and I dug around all my stuff, and I found my bobbin of 754, and I thought, it looks normal now, you know, so I redid it. But because I did that, because I had to look for that thread, I have a bin that has all my WIP-GO stuff in it, all my WIP-GO projects. So I kind of had them in order, you know, as I've been doing them. And I had the last ones that I did last month, I had them sitting, you know, hadn't put them back in the bin yet. So I pulled them all out because I had to go through all of those projects because I knew that bobbin was in one of those projects. Because I thought, I think I remember using that color, you know, whatever. And so I found it. But so in the meantime, I went and reorganized all those things. And I reorganized the ones I have, you know, by my on the side of my bed where I stitch and everything. And so I spent a whole day and I went through all my other. I have another bin over at the bottom of my nightstand that has other stuff in it. So I went, you know, so I just went through all my stuff and straightened everything out, and you know, so yeah. And I need a craft room. I have too much junk. But so I was, you know, putting away I took my tablet and entered a bunch of new patterns that I bought. I entered them into my, you know, thread stash business and trying to get up to date because I thought, I never put that in there. I never put this in here, you know. But so yeah, I spent basically most of the day working on all that kind of stuff, and then I finally got stitching that evening. But so yeah, that was my ordeal with this 754, and it's almost invisible. You almost can't see it, you know. You can kind of see it in this little guide that I finished. You can kind of see the little cheeks there, but yeah, it was a pain. And so I'm trying to keep my mojo going on those last deer because you know, theoretically I have until the end of the month, but I think I can do.
That's next week, baby.
I know. I think I can do one deer a day at least, you know, if not a little more. But that was one reason why I finished the bunny sampler, because I had to stop working on, you know, I had to not work on this pattern for a while. And that's also a reason why I have a new start. And this is one of the berries, the nativity berry. I have this little one down here. Here I'm doing. And I'm doing it on the pattern. They did it on silk gauze. No, I'm not doing that.
Which one?
This little bitty one.
Oh, so you're doing, it's a smaller version.
It's a smaller one. It's not quite the same as this. You can see that there's a little
one has a
nativity fresh
yeah
or building.
What are you chewing on?
Oh no.
And but so I'm doing it on 25 count Lugana, but I'm doing it 1/1. So it's small, but it's not totally tiny. But so I just like took one evening and just did a new start on this just because
you needed a brain break.
I need to I mean, because stitching 1/1 is kind of hard, but it kind of isn't. Now that I've gotten my feet wet with this bunny sampler, which is a lot of 1/1. Once I got going on it, it really isn't hard. I didn't work on it, more than one day because I'm, operating under the tyranny of a towel. But so, that gave me a little bit of a break. And I'm trying to discipline myself and get this done because I want to get it done. What is that? Sorry. But then, so today I thought, well, I don't want to make mistakes on this because it's especially because
it's hard to pull out.
Yeah, and it's white. Well, and this is this one. It's because it's white on white, and and I don't want to make these little quarter stitches wrong or whatever. And if when I'm doing it in my room, I have a bright light, that I can shine on it, and I can really see, up close, what I'm doing. But so for sitting out here and talking and stitching, I brought out this the rabbit.
With the invisible bunny?
Yeah, with the invisible bunny. So the thread that I thought I was going to use, I went to stitch on it, and it's like, you cannot see it. It looks real different from this invisible color. It looks real different when you hold them up side by side. I thought, okay, that's bright enough. It's an almost not quite yellow color, but it looks like it would work. And I really almost couldn't see it to stitch with. And so this is not quite white. There's one color called winter white, and this color, I don't remember what it's called, but it's another of the lighter colors. So it's almost white. So I decided to use that, so you can actually see this rabbit. And I think all the other colors will show up well. But so I just started that this morning, and I've got my little witchy stitchy magnet from last year, 2021. Here. But so that's what I've been working on, and I think last week I worked on that Rugs of the Southwest sampler thing.
Oh yeah.
So I still have that, floating around but I don't think I've done any more since last week on that. But so this is the October. When we were first setting up here, I was grabbing all my stuff out of my various project bags. That's why I was fussling around over here, because I had the card I grabbed was the December card. I'm like, what? It's like, that doesn't look familiar. It has rabbits on it, but I'm like, when I was starting to stitch, I'm like, that's not right. It's like all these weird...
and all your bunnies, you're all mixed up.
Oh, so I was looking at when I was doing my big organization thing. I had recently bought the cottage garden samplings. They have the series that's going on now called A Year in the Woods. And so that's why they have the fox, the swan, the jackrabbit, all these animals. And so I've been buying them as they come out. They're at the attic that they had a whole bunch of them, and so I bought the number 10, which was the little brown bat, and I had bought previously the woodpecker, and I was going through there, and I'm missing one, and I don't know if I missed it when it came out, if I didn't buy it, or if I have mislaid it. So I don't know. So I went through, and it's number, I think number 7 or number 8 or something that I'm missing. There's one right in there that I'm missing, and then I saw Pam and Steph, Just Keep Stitching, she held up the most recent one, which is the beaver. So now I knew I had to get that one. But which must be number 11. And so I'm missing one. So I have to look online, make sure to see if I missed it or if I just mislaid it. As a matter of fact, I have a pattern I was telling Eve about the other day that I don't know if it fell behind my computer.
Oh no.
Or fell say maybe between my bed and the wall, which is a possibility. Or if it slipped off of my printer and under the couch, under that we have a couch in our family room that is between the printer's here up against the wall and the couch is here, and so theoretically it could have fallen, if it, under the couch somewhere. But I haven't really moved the couch to look under there. But I kind of don't think. I think it might be maybe behind the computer desk or something. I don't know. But it's called appropriately Lost and Found. But I know I have it because I had a list of patterns that I was looking at, and I had made this list and put all the stitch count on them so I could see what fabric size I would need and whether or not I had an appropriate fabric or whatever. So I was going through, and I had made the list on the computer. So I had a stack of projects, and I was going through and making this Excel list and plugging in the stitch counts for each of these projects, just so so I could do my whole process, put them in the calculator thing, and cross-stitch calculator that I use, and anyway, so I had gone through and put them all on this Excel sheet. So that was the last time I remember seeing it. So I know I had it in my hand because it's on that list. But then when I went to go put that stack away or something, I was like, where? I don't know where that pattern is. And I thought, well, maybe it got stuck behind this, maybe it's stuck, I can't find it. I have all the other patterns that were in that stack except that one. It's gone. And because I remember thinking at one point, I was thinking, yeah, maybe I want to start that one. It was probably it was earlier this year, and I can't find it. So and it's not one that I'm not gonna buy it again or whatever, but I'm like, I need to find that. I want to find it. It's one of those things that I get I can get obsessive about. I am not going to give in and say that it's lost. I'm not. So I just have to figure out where I mislaid it. But
yeah, I hate it when I lose things like that.
Yeah.
Well,
so I think
done?
that's me.
Oh, shall I start with stories?
Mm-hmm. Sure, go ahead.
The story of the week is the pest mosquito. So my son is moving home from where he's been, and we're getting our house ready to receive all his things, and I'm on lifting restrictions. So last weekend, my husband was out in the garage getting things moved around. We were talking about but he's like, come out and keep me company, and I was like, I don't want to. He's like, please, and I was like, okay. And it was afternoonish, going into evening, the weather has finally turned. It was because this was Sunday afternoon, and
it's only been in the 80s and 70s.
Yeah, Saturday it poured. Like, oh yeah, that's another story.
That's probably why you have this problem.
Yes, and so, with lots of water comes.
We have strict rules here that you're not allowed to have standing water.
Yeah, but when it rains, it happens. So we were sitting out. I was sitting out in the garage, just outside on the driveway, kind of, because it was still a little warm in the garage, and we had, the door was up, and I was enjoying the breeze and everything, and I saw them. I saw mosquitoes flying around, and I'm like, I'm getting bit up. I'm going to get bit up. But you know how it is. You don't really notice. And my husband's like, yeah, me too. But he was wearing like shoes and socks and jeans, and and I went out there because I was just kind of goofing around at home. I went out there in sweats and like my Crocs. So the next day, I discover that my time in the garage keeping my husband company, the mosquitoes were basically having Thanksgiving dinner on my ankles, and I have never seen so many concentrated mosquito bites on myself ever before. On my ankles, on both sides, on the bony parts of my ankles, where you cannot really satisfactorily scratch.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get West Nile now?
Yeah, maybe. I was thinking about that, and so
it's a problem.
I have a West Nile virus story.
My husband got like 1 or 2 bites, and he's like, "I cannot believe you got bit like that." I'm like, "I know."
I think it's because you weren't moving around.
Well,
yeah,
maybe, and I wasn't wearing socks, which might have deterred them a little bit, but. It was it has been horrible. So that was Sunday. So I went to work Tuesday, Wednesday, and I had to take like the hydrocortisone with me and like pull off my sock and I wore socks to keep myself from tearing my skin up, But at the same time, after a point when the ointment wore down, you just feel that because the socks are sitting there. And and I started, I think it was so Thursday, I'm sitting in the house, and I've started soaking my ankles in Epsom salt bath. Mm-hmm. Because that's the only bath I can take right now. I'm very sad. I miss my baths. Anyway, so... that helps. I mean, it doesn't help while they're in the water because they itch while you're in the water, and I take the washcloth and but then afterward, like for a while afterward, you're like, oh, okay. So that, and then, but I was sitting around Thursday evening, or I don't know when it was Thursday, but at my house I was sitting and knitting, and I would see a freaking mosquito come and land on my leg, land on my arm, and I'm in effect I'm just slapping myself like an idiot, trying to get rid. So I was so upset. I'm like, there's one in the house.
If you were doing that in my house, the dog would want to go like in Dad's room or something and hide. If you try to kill a fly, that banging sound.
It scares her.
She hates it, and she starts crying and wants to be anywhere else. So now, if she sees a fly flying around the house,
she gets upset.
She runs and hides.
That's funny. So then Friday morning, we were getting ready to leave for work, and I opened the fridge, and I see a mosquito. This is gross, okay, but just bear with me. I see a mosquito fly in the fridge, and I'm like, yeah, and I shut the door. You're going to die in there. All my food is covered. I don't care. Because I do not want you flying around the house. And then today, Eli and I are driving over here, and I'm driving down the road, and I see a mosquito fly like this across the car, and I'm like, all the windows down, get out. Oh, I'm so tired. And I have them on my arms too, but my ankles, they're finally starting to calm down. But I found a new one on the bony part of my foot from Thursday, I guess. Anyway, I'm just really miserable with mosquitoes. I hate them.
You know, when I stayed at your house, I stayed at your house one weekend, and I came home with a mosquito bite.
Oh my gosh, a mosquito bite. Well,
but I mean, you know, I was there like overnight or whatever, and you know, just
I know.
Yeah, and I'm like, and my foot was itching in that, and I could tell it was a mosquito bite because that feeling of you know. But I couldn't find the the welt or whatever, and then it finally
pops up like when you take a shower. When you
finally. Yeah. But I was gonna say my version of that was one time when I lived in Little Rock, and it was one of those like you're hearing on the news West Nile virus, this person has it and that person has it, and there's so many cases and blah 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 in Arkansas and whatever, and they're always talking about the West Nile virus. And so I was riding my bike down by the river, and there's the river trail. There's this really, really, really nice network of trails down there by the river, and I used to go down there and ride my bike all the time. And so, but I always had to go like in the evening, during the week because I worked full time. But so one evening I was down there and trying to get my miles in, whatever, like 8 miles or whatever, you go the whole, like do a lap, And so I was close to 8 miles, and I thought, well, I'll just go up here and to like round out the mileage or whatever. And so I was going along, and I had hit my whatever milestone, and there was a little stone bench. So I stopped right there, and I was sitting there relaxing, and I took my helmet off, and I was, drinking water and just relaxing, and it was, just dusky, And so at some point I heard zzz, zzz. I thought, oh, there's a mosquito around here. I better get out of here. So I, put my helmet back on, and I got back on my bike, and I rode over to my car. It wasn't very far away. And as I'm going to put the bike back on the rack and getting ready to get in my car, then I realized I had mosquito bites all over me. And, I had them all over my back. And what it was is that there where I was sitting on the little stone bench, just mosquitoes were like flying all around me and biting, through my shirt and everything. When I got home, I had I think I counted, I had 30 something bites.
Oh my gosh.
Because and they had bitten all along my back, above and below my bra, I guess, because the bra, protected my back. But all along, I had and then
scratch right there.
Yeah, and on my arms and everything, and I had put mosquito repellent kind of on my arms and legs.
Yeah. So was it like
but
like
it was,
in the movie? I think they like this stuff.
yeah. But I hadn't put it, of course, on my shirt, because I thought my clothing would protect me. But then on my socks, they had bitten me through the cuff of my socks. And so I was just covered. I had a few that I had from before, but then that day I got a whole raft of stings, whatever you call them.
I'm gonna get West Nile.
And yeah, so I was like, West Nile virus. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so
horrible.
miserable. And so then I see an article a day later that says that I guess they did some scientific study where some people just smell better to mosquitoes, and there's zero you can do about it. It's not so it's just a combination of the enzymes and the whatever that some mosquitoes are attracted to some people more than others. And I guess they're going to use this to try to make better repellent. So more chemicals, but I'm just please tell me something I can do, because I was so
eat more garlic.
Well, they say that's
put some
actually
citronella candles outside.
Yeah, they say that's not really. Yeah, the garlic thing is. Really
I think the reason I don't get very many is because I don't use soap. I bathe in Aveeno, and I think that just makes it not smell.
Maybe I don't know, but and also I think too. I also wonder if medications make you smell different, because I'm on like
Yeah, that
I'm
probably.
on like 7 different medications, and I wonder if that changes, or
Probably.
Yeah, it affects your chemical smell.
yeah,
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
So I saw on Jenny Doan's Instagram pictures of her carving pumpkins with her grandchildren, and then there they were out in the stoop, and somebody somebody from Florida said, "Oh, we can't put them out that early," and then I mentioned that I had just seen a reminder that we're not allowed to put them out because you can be fined, because javelinas like them so much.
Oh, here in Awatuki?
Here in Arizona. Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it was on the 12 News Instagram, reminding you that it's unlawful to put these outside. I think if you had them out for a few hours on Halloween, they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But
I've never heard that. I've lived here since 19...
That's
something.
what it was just
90 something.
It was on 12 News' Instagram. That, and honestly...
It's probably worse in areas like this.
Where honestly, you do not want to attract javelinas.
They are the worst.
I wasn't going to that church at the time, but my sister was. There's a church here near where I live, and I was going to Bible study, and I walked out there, one of the doors, because my car was right there on the street, and I walked out, and there were 3 javelinas just right outside the door.
In those little berms? Oh, outside the door?
Right outside the door. In the vegetation right there.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've seen them at church before.
These are not little. The javelinas are a feral pig that is here in this area.
And they are mean as
And
heck.
they attack animals. They attack dogs. They attack people. They are mean. And they are not small. These javelinas that I saw were like, like this.
Big.
I mean, they're huge. When you think of a domestic pig, a large adult domestic pig, you can get an idea of how large these animals are. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not to say that I want anything to happen to them. People, there's some horrible people that like shoot arrows at them and stuff.
I remember seeing one. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was a javelina. We were going I don't know if we were going to the post office or something, because it was on that road that goes to the post office close to there was one that had been hit by a car or something.
Cute little perfectly formed little legs, little feet. But they're not.
I like when you see them and they have the little babies with them.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one in a while.
And I don't wish them any harm. I just don't want them near me. And it's the same thing with bobcats and coyotes.
Yeah.
I want them to be healthy and to eat and to not starve to death. I just don't want them eating my dog. And this happens here. And they're like, we don't want you to put out anything that's going to attract these wildlife.
Wow.
People underestimate a wild animal's ability to defend itself.
Yeah.
And I'm talking any wild animal. There are people that feed deer and then find out that a deer can be dangerous.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I just saw this in passing, that some child was recently trampled to death on an African safari up with a giraffe.
Oh no.
Now, I would never allow my child near a wild animal, near any wild animal.
Oh, you mean like the people who let their kids walk right up to bison at Yellowstone? Mm-hmm. Like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they don't know that you just want to take a picture with your kid. No, they don't know that. All they know is that there is a human coming into their area, and so...
was this like in Africa or in some
in
safari?
Africa?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in Africa.
Wow.
And, you know, even though they have signs saying don't get out of your car, people do anyway. And lately with the social media, so many people do risky and insane things to try to get that picture that everybody wants to click on.
Mm-hmm.
And tragedies happen. People fall from cliffs and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. That picture isn't worth it. You know, use the zoom lens and take one from far away. Yeah, I don't understand.
Well, the wildlife that bit me, I don't care one bit for. So.
Well, you know.
Oh my gosh! So one time we went up to the mountains, and it happened to Mark, but these weren't mosquitoes. I don't think they were mosquitoes. I think they were gnats, and they were biting him, and I'm like, I'm not getting bit. What are you complaining about? I literally kind of ridiculed him. Not ridiculed him, but I was just like, it's fine. And he kept saying, we gotta go. I'm like, no, it's fine. What do you know? Because I literally was not getting bit, and he just kept feeling it, and I feel so bad because we got home that night and he got a fever. The backs of his legs were solid bite, and he was so sick that night. And I had to give him Benadryl, and I mean, he was feverish and miserable. It went away in like a day, but that was really bad.
So when I lived in Belgium, there was an insect that looked like a mosquito. No, it didn't bite. But, you know, with the long nose and the big legs like that.
It's probably like a crane fly.
But it was like this big.
Yeah.
And it was attracted to the light by the door, so probably, right? Yeah. And between that and the spiders, and I'm like, I cannot live in wet climates. I cannot do it. There are too many bugs.
Oh, so would you like some more nightmare fuel? So after the first rain that we had, the first big rain.
Are you going to tell me about spiders?
Nope.
Okay.
Worse. It was after the rain, one of the first big rains we had about a week ago. I'm sitting in my chair and I see Calvin doing the, and I hear crunch, crunch. And I'm like, what are you eating? So I get up and I go over there and I shoo him away. And I'm like, that can't be what you were eating. There was, I assume it was a millipede. About this long. Boop, 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 crawling along. And I'm like, what? Where did that come from? And I was terrified because I didn't know anything about them. And so I picked it up and I was like, look, Mark. And he's like, well, you want to take it outside? And I folded the napkin over and I went, like that. Or that. Later he goes, it kind of scared me. And so, and then later on that night, we saw another one. Just in the middle of the dining room. Like, where are you coming from? And then over the next 2 or 3 nights, so what I did was that night is I got my Google Lens. So you get your camera if you have a Google, you have Google, and there's a little icon at the bottom of your camera. It looks like a camera, but it's got dotted lines like this, and you click that, and then you put your camera to something, and it'll say searching. Did you know that? Mm-mm. And then it'll come up with web results of whatever you're looking at. You can look up a flower or whatever. And so it said that it was a particular kind of millipede. And I started reading about millipedes. And apparently millipedes are not poisonous. They will not bite you. I did not know that. I was thinking of it was like a centipede, which will bite you and sting you. Actually, I think Ogden Nash has a poem about millipedes and centipedes. That, something about if you trod on him, he will leave a spot. Something I can't remember. Anyway, a centipede. But, I'll have to look it up. But, so they're not bad. And they would not hurt a cat if they ate it. So I was like, okay. But then every night for a while, like, millipede check, and we'd find probably 2 a night. And,
how did they get in?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw one in the hallway, so I think it came in from the garage. But it said that when there's a lot of rain, they will come inside. Or actually, they live in moist areas, but I guess when there's too much rain, they you know, like an earthworm rises to the top, right? So it's kind of like that, I guess. And so, you know, there's always unsealed places in your house, you know. We have those little black beetles that come in.
Yeah.
You know, when...
Well, the other day I was in the bathroom
that are
the
harmless.
other night, and this, I saw this little bug.
Don't tell me about that.
Walking
I go to the bathroom in the dark.
He was walking on the wall, and I thought, oh no. And
That's
so
so you can't see the bugs.
So I went to
That's
grab.
if I turn on the light, I wake up.
I went to grab, you know, like a little piece of toilet paper, to, you know, to smash him with. And so he's walking across the wall, and he flies for just a second, you know. And so I'm trapped on the toilet. I can't get, you know. And so, but I could reach the wall, right? So I grab a piece of toilet paper, you know, so I could. And then he disappeared, and I thought, well, okay, he's like under the towels that are hanging there, right? And so I was flipping around the towels trying to get him to, you know, trying to flush him out, and he disappeared. And I messed up at the towels, and because I thought, well, he's got to be right there, because where else could he be? And I couldn't find him. He you know, and so, you know, since then, of course, the door's been open, so I don't know where he went.
He crawled in bed with Eve.
What?
He crawled in bed with Eve. What kind of bug was it?
What?
What kind of bug was it?
It was long and skinny and brown. Just some kind of a flying beetle thing. I don't know. But
So
you know.
when the rain that we got, it rained for a few days, but there was one day when it was like raining all day long, and
Saturday.
And that is unusual here. But my dog believes that she's made out of sugar. So she will not go outside for any reason whatsoever. Yes, including going to the bathroom if it is raining. You cannot force her out the doggy door. And if you finally do, she'll pop right back in she'll go outside, turn around, and get back in. She's like, I am not going out there. So in order to get her not to go in the house, I have to take her outside, like front or backyard. And she will do her best not to get in the rain. Well, with the rain we had that day, there was standing water like this deep in the backyard. And she was really happy to go out in the back. And I opened the door, and she like starts to go out, and then she's like, and she wanted to come back in, and I'm like, no. So I followed her out. Now I put on flip-flops, you know, because I didn't know what would be floating in the water, right? So I stepped in that water, and I was like, it was like stepping in the river in Santa Barbara. It was so cold. And I was like, how can that water be this cold? And whoever designed the way that our backyard is did not think things through. Let's just say that.
Was that Saturday? Saturday was so...
I don't know, but the water took a few days to dry up.
Yeah, you know, so remember, Saturday morning you came to my house, and you were like, it's really cloudy and crazy out there.
Yeah.
So then that afternoon, I went out to because Mark looked out the front door, and he's like, look at that cloud. And I go, and it was like across the street, it was kind of cloudy, and to the north, it was cloudy, sunny-ish, but to the south, I looked, and there was this very low cloud. It looked like it was on the ground, black, and going like this.
Yeah, it was bad rain.
Like, it was but it wasn't raining yet. It was just so fast, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, I felt like I was in some horror movie, because I'm standing there, and I feel the air change to cold, and my neighbor has one of those little, like a arty windmill thing, and it starts going, you know, because it was kind of like this, and all of a sudden it starts going. I was
like a horror movie.
Exactly. And then I felt
a disaster movie.
I could feel the sprinkle of the rain, and I'm like, oh no.
Was it Saturday morning?
It was Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, we went to her house.
We went to.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you came to my house to record Saturday
Yeah,
morning, and you told me that the sky was very cloudy.
Yeah.
Like all directions, it looked really stormy.
Yeah, and so then
I guess
I
it was
came
later
in-
that day that it started raining.
yeah, I came in and I was looking at the radar, and it said that it was going to rain then, and that more was coming. And Mark's like, nah, my radar doesn't say. I'm like, no, it says it, because you could see from the south all this storm coming. And I was watching because my Google or Weather Channel radar will do like a future prediction. And I'm like, oh man, that's going right over Symphony Hall at showtime tonight. And I was working.
No,
And, come here, stop barking. And he's like, no, it's not going to rain. I know she's cute, but she will shut up. And so it poured.
face.
I know, little dog. You can't see her on camera. It poured, and then I went to work, and I was a little bit late.
Come here.
You stop barking. Stop it.
Come here.
I went to work downtown, and it had been raining off and on, and the skies looked horrible, black, low, dark, you know, and it was raining off and on as I was driving, and I at a red light I snapped a picture and sent it to my husband. You said it wasn't going to rain anymore. And I get there, and we're supposed to go, so where I park, there's an elevator that comes down, and you go run right across the street, and there's the box office, but we're supposed to go all the way down the block to the stage door and go into the hall. And I called my boss, and I'm like, can I please come in the front door? And she's like, yeah. Because, you know, I'm like, it's raining. And because it was, you know, drizzle kind of at that point. And I remember I wore boots because I'm like, if it pours, I'm not going to be caught in sandals or whatever stupid. So I have my umbrella, and I walk across the street, and it's sprinkling on me. And I get in the box office, and a couple comes up, gets their tickets, and while they're getting their tickets, it starts to rain. And they're like, where can we go? Because the hall wasn't open yet. Mm-hmm. She's like, where can we go? You know, while it's raining, like, you can go to the convention center, which is like, here's the box office, here's our little porch area, you know, thing, and then down some steps, and right there's the convention center, right? Just around the corner like that. So they got their tickets, and then they went to stop under this awning. We just have a shade awning. It's not like weather, you know, because this is Phoenix. And they're under the awning there, and then deluge. And I took film of it out in the street. It was like
bad.
It was like Eastern rain. It was like, and those poor people were stuck there. And one of my colleagues is like, should I take the umbrella out there and try to walk them? I'm like, you're just all going to get soaked. I'm like, an umbrella will not protect 3 people. And you know, it's a big enough umbrella, but it's always me that ends up getting wet. Like, you're going to get soaked. They're going to get soaked. If they're happy just standing there, you know. So they stood there for a long time. And finally the guy ran around. I guess he didn't really know where the entrance was, and I think he wanted to go see where it was. So he ran out in the rain, but by then it had slowed a little. He ran out in the rain to go find the entrance, and then came back for her or something. I don't know, but so I made it in just in time, or I would have been in that.
And you know, the person that designed our yard, well, it's got a cool deck. And if you don't know what that is, it's just
so
that it's not as hot as like concrete or something.
Supposedly, it's still pretty
if you step
better.
on those stones, it's a lot better. Yeah, you can walk around barefoot most of the summer to go swimming and stuff. So the pool is here and the deck, and then that same decking comes toward the house, but they tilt it down, and it's got these little, you know, to try to get stuff away from the pool so that when it rains, crap doesn't go in the pool. It's got these very thin little drainage runner things. And those are supposed to take all the rain and take it out into where the dog run is. so that, because that's not concreted, it's,
Just gathers by the back door.
the drain fills up right away with debris or whatever, but those little things, the holes are so small that a leaf or a twig or whatever stuffs it, and then it stops working. And so the little porch area that we have floods, and
I remember one time
and the
Dad
dog
was
run
very
floods.
worried it was going to come in the back door.
Yeah.
There's been times our back door is a good 3 inches from the deck, and this time it was getting there. It was getting there, and but we've had it where we're like watching that, going, do we need to put towels down? you know, and it's very difficult because I want her to go out and go into the yard, but she's got to go swimming first.
She's not tall enough.
And then I'm like trying to go out to get her
She's
to go.
not tall enough.
I'm like, I don't want to walk in this either.
When you're talking about the having to go to the symphony, it was raining. There was one time when I was living in Little Rock, in Arkansas, you're in Tornado Alley, and so tornadoes go through there all the time. And in Arkansas, here's Little Rock, and this diagonal line goes from Texarkana to Missouri, and that's where the tornadoes go. In this diagonal line, all the storms, go through there, and and we're right on the line where you have moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and cold air, from snow up here and moist hot air down here, and so we would get ice storms and all kinds of tornadoes and all kinds of stuff. So it was a pretty regular occurrence there in Little Rock. But there was one year where we had a concert. We had to go play a concert, and it was in the spring because I remember some school had their prom going on at the same time. And so I'm watching, and it's getting very stormy, and this must have been a Saturday, because I think the concert was Saturday night. So I'm watching, and on the news, they had broken in, and it was the weather guys, and the weatherman was saying, that's a wall cloud, and I'm like, and so I went and I looked out the balcony door, and you could see off in the distance that it was very greenish looking, and it was a wall cloud, and fortunately it was still far enough away, but I'm like, okay, I have to go out on that, so I'm like watching the weather, and the sky was very cloudy and
Symphony
very.
has nothing to say about it.
Not at that point. So time came when I had to leave, and you could kind of see the sky. So here's my apartment, and the symphony, the hall is just over there. It's really like a mile and a half, 2 miles from my apartment. And so I'm looking out the window, and the sky looks very ugly. And so I think I told one of my neighbors something about if the sirens go off, help my cats, please, Mm-hmm. But so I had to go, and I'm driving toward the hall, and I'm going, and I'm getting closer and closer and closer to this ugly green cloud of the sky, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I driving into the storm? So I parked, and I went in, and I went in the little back entrance that we went in, and people were all standing around out there. And I said, so what's going on? And they're like, well, we're not allowed to go up on the stage because of the I don't know if the sirens had gone off or what the deal was. But so we had to stay, the entrance that we went in was down below the stage level. And then there was another level below that, which is where the convention center rooms were, whatever, I don't know, it was all attached down there because that's where one of the proms was going on, was down in that basement level, whatever. So at one point, the people who had come to the symphony hall for the symphony, who were there early, had to go down to that lower level where the prom was going on. So there's all these people who had come to hear the symphony, and there's all this rock and roll stuff from the prom, and they're, you know, and so finally they sort of got the all clear, so we were all able to go upstairs and do the concert. But for a long time, the concert was delayed like maybe half an hour or something, because we were sitting around waiting to see if we were going to be able to go on stage or not.
I have a similar story about a dust storm. Often when Robert was doing his swim matches, we would hear about dust storms and not really pay too much attention. The kids were already wet; they would just get muddy, and they didn't usually pass over us. This one time, we were at the Chandler High School pool, which is a big pool. It's got an Olympic-sized swimming pool and other pool things. I think it has a diving pool and all that. It's a big complex. It's at a high school, and they came over the loudspeaker and they said everybody needs to get into one of the bathrooms. They said, don't worry about male, female, just get in one of the bathrooms. Because the rest of the school was not unlocked. Only the bathrooms were unlocked.
Oh, wow.
And it's not like a tornado, you know, it's not going to take the building, you know, away, but they can be brutal.
Yeah. They can throw debris for sure.
Yeah, well, and the sand hitting your skin, because most of these kids are in their swimming suits, you know. So it took, I want to say 20 minutes for that storm to pass. It was a big storm. Normally, with a sandstorm, it's there and gone. Yeah, you pull over for a minute or two on the road or whatever, and it's gone. And you don't want to drive in it because it's kind of like fog. You can't really see through it. Brown fog. But
unless you're getting chicken.
Huh?
Yeah.
Unless you're getting chicken.
Unless you're going to go get dinner. One time I was on my way to Tucson, and I don't remember when, it was years and years ago, and you could see this giant dust storm coming across the highway. And I was like, you have to make a decision. Are you going to pull over or are you going to go through it? And it looks like you're driving into the apocalypse. And the danger is you can't see cars, right? Just like fog or whatever. And the other danger is, like, they tell you to pull over and don't press your brakes, because they don't want people to think that's the road, and that, you know, or turn your lights off, because they don't want people to think you're on the road and follow your lights and hit you. So, but this was middle of the day, and I was kind of like, well, I don't know. And like it's literally like a wall. Like you're driving, here's the dust, and you're driving along, so
you can see the edge of it.
Yeah. So I was like, what do I do? What should I do? And Mark and I were like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna keep going, and be very careful. And I was going slow, and I'm like, I'll be very careful. And if it lasts, you know, any longer, you know, then feels good, I'll pull over. I don't know what I was thinking, but so all these people were pulled over on the side of the road. They were all stopping for it to go, and I was like, I'm just gonna try to go. And I went through, and I'm not kidding you, it felt like it was as wide as my hand. I went through, and it was gone. And everyone back there was like, ah! And we were like, poop, nothing. And the rest, the other side was nothing. It's clear. It was so weird.
Yeah, you know.
So you just never know, though. I mean, it could have been a stupid decision on my part, but.
So when I was I was driving home one year, and you know, I think that was the year, that I almost wrecked in Amarillo, because
that's
it was
different.
icy.
That's like winter storms.
Yeah,
That's
but
totally
I mean, like, what I was getting to is that, you know, so it had been horrible the night before. It was in the only place in the country really that was on the Weather Channel. There was a big red blob exactly where I needed to go on I-40, and it was like rain turning to freezing rain, turning to snow, is what they were saying. And I was like, great, that's exactly where I need to go. So I left at the crack of dawn or something, because I had gotten all the way to Amarillo with no real weather at all. And in Amarillo, it started to rain and started to freeze. And then it turned to snow as I went through Amarillo. And so I got to Tucumcari, and it was like you couldn't really see the edges of the road. I was like going, and so like this big wet flakes of snow are coming down. So I pulled into Tucumcari, got one of the last hotel rooms, and spent the night there. And so in the morning, I wasn't sure, because you could kind of, they had closed the freeway. They have gates on the freeway at certain points, and so they had closed the freeway, and so I was sitting out there and I was trying to see, I could kind of see the freeway, but I couldn't really tell. I could see cars going, but I couldn't tell if they were, like going and then hitting Santa Rosa where the gates were and the freeway was closed, or what, so I wasn't more sure. And it was still kind of cloudy and overcast, and, there were still flakes blowing around. I was like, okay, are those flakes falling from the sky, or are they blowing off the top of the building, because everything had like a foot of snow on it or whatever. And so finally I decided, well, okay, I've got to leave. So it was like mid-morning or something. And so I got in the car, and because I think I asked somebody like where they had come from. Somebody else, like had they come from the west, whatever. And so I think somebody had said, yeah, it's not bad on the other side. So I said, okay, well, I'm going. So I got in the car and and between Tucumcari and Santa Rosa, poof, nothing. And the sun is shining, and the streets are, the road is dry, and it's like it never happened. Like
You just couldn't see past it. It was awful.
it was.
Well,
yeah.
I have got to go. We have a work day planned at Eli's place, so better go and not burn any more daylight. But thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We will see you next week at Halloween weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't promise I'll be dressed up. I can't decide.
I still have my bee costume over there.
Well, we're doing, the symphony's doing Hocus Pocus.
Oh.
Live to film. So they're showing the film, and the orchestra's playing the score. And so we, in the box office, we were talking about whether or not we're going to dress up, because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Halloween's a Monday. But so some people are talking about it. I don't know. I'm on the fence.
One of our cello players had one of those banana costumes.
Oh yeah.
Because we would we would do it at least a children's concert.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were so
One of the problems with dressing up at work, though, is that is the decision you need to live with all day.
Exactly.
and
I'm only doing Friday night. I work 1 to 9 Friday, so it's not so bad as like 9 to 9. But yeah, it's probably going to be just.
It's a serious commitment.
Right here.
Yeah.
This much.
Yeah.
Maybe. I was telling one of my colleagues, I'm like, I have a T-shirt with a jack-o'-lantern on it. That's probably about as much as I could do.
I think Puck has one of those.
I have one too.
Well, thanks for joining us again. We will see you next week.
Yes.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.